Dwight David Eisenhower was born in Texas in 1890 and grew up in Kansas. He came from a modest family that valued discipline, education, and hard work. His path to a military career began when he entered the United States Military Academy at West Point, from which he graduated in 1915. Early in his service, Eisenhower did not see combat in World War I, but he quickly established himself as a talented staff officer. He excelled at planning operations, coordinating large forces, and working with different commanders. In the interwar period, he served alongside influential generals, gaining experience in strategic planning. His career developed not through heroic battles, but through organizational talent, a trait that would prove decisive during World War II. By the time the U.S. entered the war, Eisenhower already had a reputation as an officer capable of working with allies. It was this quality that led to his rapid promotion after the U.S. entered the war. He was assigned to strategic planning in Washington, where he participated in the development of the U.S. global strategy. He soon became one of the key organizers of Allied operations. Eisenhower became famous not as a field commander, but as a coordinator of huge coalitions. He was able to find compromises between British and American generals, which was critically important. It was thanks to this that he was appointed commander of the Allied forces in Europe. This decision determined his historical role. His career shows that the path to the highest command can be through strategic talent, not just combat exploits. Eisenhower became a symbol of the general organizer, a man who manages war on a continental scale. Eisenhower's main feat was his ability to lead the Allied coalition. In a war involving dozens of armies, coordination was the key to success. His first major test was the operation in North Africa. He commanded the Allied landings and established cooperation between the various forces. After that, he was given command of operations in the Mediterranean, where he coordinated campaigns that gradually weakened the Axis countries. The most decisive was the preparation for the Normandy landings. Eisenhower was responsible for planning, logistics, and coordinating the actions of a huge number of forces. The decision to launch the operation was one of the most difficult of the war. It required political courage and military confidence. The success of the operation made him one of the most famous generals of the war. His promotion was a logical consequence of his ability to manage a global war. Eisenhower showed that strategic leadership can be just as important as heroism on the front lines. His path to the rank of general is a story of responsibility for decisions that changed the course of the war. He became a symbol of the coalition general. That is why his name is associated with the Allied victory in Europe. George Smith Patton was born in 1885 in California into a family with a long military tradition. From childhood, he grew up in an environment where military service was considered an honor and a calling. Studying at West Point was not easy for him, but Patton was known for his perseverance. He became fascinated with military history at an early age, especially maneuver warfare and the role of rapid attacks. During World War I, he became one of the first American officers to work with tanks. It was then that his belief in mobile warfare took shape, an idea that would define his style of command. In the interwar period, Patton remained one of the main proponents of the development of armored forces. He studied tactics, wrote papers, and actively promoted the idea of rapid breakthroughs. At the beginning of World War II, his style seemed harsh, but it was precisely what was needed for the new type of warfare. Patton was distinguished by his energy, demanding nature, and aggressive thinking. His personality was controversial, but soldiers recognized his ability to lead troops forward. He believed that speed was the key to victory. Patton's career began to grow rapidly after the United States entered the war. He had the opportunity to put his ideas into practice. His command was based on offense, initiative, and constant pressure on the enemy. Patton became a symbol of the shock general, a commander who leads troops forward without pause. His biography is the story of a man who waited for war to implement his own military philosophy. Patton's first major test was in North Africa. There, he was tasked with restoring the combat capability of American troops after difficult battles. He quickly changed the discipline, pace, and style of command. This yielded results. The troops began to act with more confidence. In the Sicilian campaign, Patton demonstrated his main trait: speed. His units moved aggressively, bypassing positions and exceeding expectations. It was there that he earned a reputation as one of the fastest commanders of the Allies. His promotion was a result of the effectiveness of his offensive operations. His most famous period was when he commanded the Third Army in France. After the Allied landings, Patton made a rapid breakthrough that became one of the symbols of maneuver warfare. His troops advanced faster than planned, exploiting weaknesses in the enemy's defenses. During the Battle of the Bulge, he made a sharp turn with his army to unblock Allied forces. This decision became an example of operational flexibility. Patton proved that speed can change the strategic situation. His promotion was the result of combat effectiveness, not just staff work. He became a symbol of a general who turns movement into a weapon. Douglas MacArthur was born in 1880 into a military family. His father was a general, so military life surrounded him from childhood. He grew up in an environment where service was seen as a mission. MacArthur graduated from West Point at the top of his class. Early in his career, he stood out for his intelligence, ambition, and confidence in his role. During World War I, he gained combat experience and a reputation as a brave officer. He was often on the front lines, which shaped his image as a leader who led by example. In the interwar period, MacArthur held high positions, including leadership of the U.S. Army. He also worked in the Philippines, where he played an important role in building up the defense forces. By the start of World War II, he was already one of the most famous military figures in the U.S. His name was associated with authority and strategic thinking. The start of the war in the Pacific was a personal challenge for him. The loss of the Philippines was a heavy blow, but it was this that determined his future role. His famous promise to return became a symbol of the campaign. It turned a military operation into a personal story. MacArthur was not only a commander, but also a symbol, a general whose presence had political and psychological significance. His style combined strategy, publicity, and a strong sense of historical role. MacArthur's biography is the story of a symbolic general. MacArthur's main test was the Pacific War. After retreating from the Philippines, he began to implement a strategy of gradual return. His approach was based on leaps between islands, bypassing strong positions and capturing key points. This allowed for more effective advancement. The campaigns in New Guinea were an example of this strategy. They demonstrated the ability to wage a complex war in jungle conditions and with logistical difficulties. The most important moment was the return to the Philippines. This operation had not only military but also symbolic significance. His landing became one of the most famous images of the war. It emphasized the fulfillment of a promise and the restoration of the Allies' positions. MacArthur proved that strategic vision can determine the pace of a campaign. His decisions changed the balance of power in the region. His promotion was linked to his ability to manage large-scale operations in a vast theater of war. He became an example of a general who combined military strategy with political symbolism. His influence extended beyond the battlefield. MacArthur became a symbol of return and perseverance. Omar Nelson Bradley was born in 1893 in Missouri to a modest family. His path to a military career began without influential connections or a military dynasty, which distinguished him from many famous generals. He entered West Point and graduated from the academy in 1915, in the same class that gave the United States a large number of future generals. His early career was quiet, without any notable combat episodes. During the interwar period, Bradley worked as an instructor and staff officer. It was then that he gained a reputation as a calm, practical, and attentive commander. Unlike Patton, he was not a charismatic public leader. His strength lay in stability, organization, and understanding the needs of soldiers. When the United States entered the war, these qualities became extremely important. Bradley rose quickly through the ranks thanks to his ability to command large forces without undue drama. His command style was restrained. He avoided risky decisions unless they offered a real advantage. Soldiers saw him as a soldier's general, a commander who thought about casualties, logistics, and the real situation on the front lines. His career grew because of the trust he inspired in the command and the troops. Bradley became an example of a general whose strength lay in stability. His biography is a story of quiet leadership. Bradley's first major test was in North Africa. There, he worked alongside Patton, complementing his style with a more calm approach. He demonstrated an ability to stabilize troops and organize complex operations. This made him an important commander in the Allied system. During the Normandy landings, Bradley commanded significant Allied forces. His role was to break through the defenses and expand the beachhead. Operation Cobra was one of the key moments. It paved the way for the Allies' rapid advance in France. Bradley demonstrated the ability to coordinate vast forces without losing control. This became the basis for his further promotion. He commanded large army groups, which required strategic thinking and organization. His approach reduced chaos in large-scale operations. This was critical in the coalition war. Bradley showed that effectiveness can be quiet, without loud statements but with great results. His promotion was the result of trust and consistent results. He became a symbol of a general who holds the system together. Chester William Nimitz was born in Texas in 1885. He chose a career in the Navy and enrolled in the United States Naval Academy, where he quickly demonstrated an aptitude for technical and strategic matters. In the early stages of his career, Nimitz specialized in the submarine fleet and new technologies. This shaped his thinking. He saw war as a combination of technology, logistics, and strategy. During the interwar period, he worked on fleet development, commanded various units, and gained a reputation as a calm, methodical officer. His style was in stark contrast to that of aggressive field commanders. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the United States needed new leadership in the Pacific. It was then that Nimitz received a key appointment, command of the Pacific Fleet. This was a turning point in his career. He took command of the fleet at a time when the strategic situation was critical. Nimitz was distinguished by his ability to make difficult decisions without unnecessary drama. He trusted his commanders and built a system that worked over long distances. His style was based on balance between risk and caution, offense and conservation of strength. He became one of the main architects of the U.S. victory at sea. His biography is the story of a general strategist of naval warfare. Nimitz's main test was the Pacific War after Pearl Harbor. He took command of the fleet at a time when the U.S. had lost some of its forces and needed to quickly rebuild its strategy. One of the first turning points was the Battle of Midway. The decisions made under his command shifted the balance of power in the Pacific. The victory demonstrated the importance of reconnaissance, planning, and the proper use of aircraft carriers. This became the basis for further strategy. Nimitz coordinated the island-hopping campaign, which gradually brought the U.S. closer to Japan. This strategy required precise planning and large-scale logistics. His role was not in a single heroic battle, but in the systematic management of a vast theater of war. He worked closely with other commanders, combining the Navy, Marines, and Air Force. His promotion was the result of his ability to manage a complex technological war. Nimitz proved that naval warfare is a strategy of distance, resources, and time. His contribution set the pace for the U.S. offensive in the Pacific. He became a symbol of a general who wins through a system.